Mind-blowing news of Craig Counsell going to the Chicago Cubs. David Ross is out. We didn't get a chance to dive into that. We were doing the BBWAA reveal show. Thank you. It was a fun show.
Yeah, great show.
You were on high heat with Mad Dog Chris Rowe, so you got a chance to talk about it a little bit. But in our little, what I called our dive bar, Studio 3, this is where we really need to sink into this, okay? If you don't mind, I know it's a bit of a day old. We're still getting new information trickling in. This from Adam McCalvey, covers the Brewers all the time. Craig Counsell, quote, yesterday was an emotional day. I was sad first, then happy, then I was crying, then I was laughing. I went through all of it. There was a lot yesterday, I understand. It was a decision that affected a lot of people, and I take that very seriously. I understand people are mad. That's part of this. That's part of what makes this hard. But sometimes you just have to try to think above that and do what you think in your heart is right for you and the people around you. And look, man, you can't blame anyone for taking $8 million a year.
Right.
Changing the landscape. In a bigger market, right? In a place where you probably have a better chance of them going out and putting pieces around you instead of you having to do a outstanding job and getting a team that might overachieve every year in a lackluster division. So now you have a little bit more of a foundation to put some winning pieces around you. Not to mention that I was sad first, and then I was happy. Oh, yeah, the sad, leaving Milwaukee, but boy, that paper, it is nice.
Yeah. Well, I also think sad being David Ross. I think David Ross is part of that. Just the way things happen with Rossi, going his way, and then the Cubs coming in. But did you think the Cubs were going after Counsell? No one saw this coming. So then he jumps in, and then Counsell says, hey, I'm also going to set the bar. I know how valuable I am. I know what I'm worth. And all of a sudden, it's a 5-year, $40 million deal, which is absolutely huge. And I think also, too, the Cubs losing down the stretch, where they lose 15 to 22 down the stretch, I think that was a part of this decision of them just being outside the postseason. But, Craig Counsell is one of the best in the game. And Tom Ricketts and that organization, Jed Hoyer and those guys knew that, hey, listen, if we have a shot to get Counsell right now, we got to take that shot.
A couple things. We were on the air the night at the winter meetings almost a year ago when Xander Bogaerts signed his monster contract with the San Diego Padres. And we were all blown away because we thought for sure he was going to finish his legacy with the Boston Red Sox and be known as the greatest shortstop in Red Sox history. And what we talked about that night is if you're going to snatch a legacy away from somebody, in this case, Craig Counsell grew up in the Brewers organization. His dad worked for the organization. He played there. He loved living there with his family. He wanted to be considered the greatest manager in Brewer history if the money would have worked out. If you're going to pull this man away from his legacy, you have to overpay people to do that. You have to snatch them away by paying them an insane amount of money. And that is what the Cubs did here.
You know what? And I don't look at it as a overpay. Case knows it doesn't start in spring training, it starts in the offseason. The manager's job, the amount of stress that comes on the hands of a manager, the shoulders of a manager. When your best player doesn't want to really talk to the media, who goes and talks to the media? The manager. When the team's playing terrible and you have to answer those horrible questions about, players that you respect so much, the manager. There's so much onus that comes on the shoulders of a manager where I don't look at this as an overpay. I think this is a great job.
Well, it is a record.
It is a record deal.
It's a record salary.
It's a record salary, but we're in 2023, right? Times of inflation. The price goes up.
Yeah, but the price has been going down. That's the thing.
But I think we need to value the manager more, and I think this is a great job of, I know a lot of people are going to say overpay, but the Cubs set the bar. If you want these guys, Bruce Bochy, you telling me Bruce Bochy shouldn't be making around the same amount of money? Look at this list.
And look at those numbers, Cam. I mean, I think, and I think Bochy is a great point because the manager matters a lot. Bruce Bochy comes in, bam, the Texas Rangers are world champions, God. They won the World Series, and Bochy was a huge part of that. I think we're now starting to see managers, I think this $8 million mark is more like it. I mean, how many star players, what they're making and what middle of the road guys are making, they're making more than $8 million a year. So the manager, like Cam was saying, has so much to do with the analytics, with the players, with the fans, with the front office, all the things that come there, with managing a bullpen,
it's more
managing
difficult
a rotation.
It's more difficult now to manage when you have so many, cooks in the kitchen telling you this is what you should do. These are the guys that you should be playing, because the matchup is right. The lefty-righty matchup looks this way. It's even harder to manage now, so I think this is fitting, and this is the trend we should start to see.
It's a market correction. No one was complaining when Nick Saban's making $10 million a year to coach 11 or 12 college football games. No one was complaining when John Gruden got a $100 million deal from the Raiders to be an NFL head coach. Okay, this is 162.
Yeah, and 30 games at spring training. I'm just saying.
We always say.
And then Bochy wrote it all the way until they pop bottles in the World Series. Like, maybe you're onto something. We saw an old school manager in Bruce Bochy, leader of men, had to manage against Dusty Baker, old school manager, leader of men in the ALCS. And then you saw Brian Snicker, who the players would, run through a wall for, who came up through their system. He was a leader of men, manager of the Atlanta Braves against Torey Lovello, who just got a contract extension, by the way, for what he did with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe this contract is good for the game, Sean.
Yeah.
Good for the game that we're starting to recognize. Leadership matters.
Yeah.
This is a marathon unlike any other sport. Yep. And to have someone to listen to the players talk about Bruce Bochy after they won the World Series is all you need to know about the impact of that role.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, listen, having played for guys like Jim Leland, having played for guys like Terry Francona that are winning managers, when you give them the pieces to go out there and win, and you watch how they manage that clubhouse over an 8-month, 9-month period if you're going to win it all. It matters a ton. You're spending more time with those guys than you are with your family. You want the father of the clubhouse, the guy that's going to lead from the front, to be a guy that you can look to and say, this guy's been here, done that. This guy knows exactly how I feel. This guy knows when it's time to give me a day off or what have you. I'm telling you right now, it matters more than ever in this game of baseball to have a leader in the managerial position that guys will follow.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Case. We always try to anoint players as the captain, and I say the captain is the guy that's the manager. That's the identity that team takes. You talk about Dusty Baker, what he was able to do coming to Houston after all of that, all of the things that happened in 2017. Yeah. There wasn't a better guy that could lead men. Torey Lovello. There's a reason why the Diamondbacks were there. Rob Thompson. These are, like he said, leaders of men and guys that manage with their gut. So players respect them and they have a more trust because they understand these guys are watching the game, right? They're going off the feel of the game. They're not just going by numbers, and that's why that's so important.
Yesterday I saw the coverage, great coverage. It was really about, wow, what are the Cubs doing? What does this mean for the Cubs? What does this mean for the Milwaukee Brewers? I like our conversation today. This is a great story for the game of baseball, that we're recognizing and valuing the role of manager now, which was going in the opposite direction. Right. So I think you could be upset if you're a Cub fan or a Brewer fan, but this is good for baseball.
And for a guy like Kevin Cash, who's not even on that list when you got them a sneaker at 1.2. Eventually Kevin Cash.
This is what he's doing right now.
He's going to be a free
He's on the phone with his agent.
Kevin Cash might be going, I should have had this deal years ago.
$8 million?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm up for a manager of the year. Again. If I win next week, that's 3 managers of the year in the last 4 years. Anyway, you see what I'm saying? We're valuing the role that we've all loved.
It's good for baseball.
It's great for baseball.
It's great for baseball.
No doubt.